Most people don't realize they're not losing because of the world. They're losing because of themselves. They wake up each morning, and before their feet even touch the ground, their mind is already working against them. I'm tired. I don't feel good enough. I can't do it. Not from someone else, not from their boss, not from a stranger, but from themselves, from their own thinking, from their own voice. That's the real battle, the one that happens between your ears. And let me tell you something I learned early on. You cannot have a positive life with a negative mind. You can work hard, you can read the books, you can go to the seminars. But if your thinking is toxic, your results will be too. Your attitude is the thermostat of your life. It sets the temperature. It controls the climate. And if your thermostat is set on doubt, fear, and negativity, no amount of external success will ever feel right. You've got to reset the temperature. You've got to reprogram your mind. You've got to kill the weeds of doubt before they choke your dreams. See, negative thinking is a slow poison. It doesn't kill you instantly, but it kills you slowly, one thought at a time. It kills your passion. It kills your discipline. It kills your joy. It says things like, "You always fail. Why even try? This isn't for people like you." Let me ask you something. If someone else said that to you every single day, would you keep them in your life? Of course not. But many people allow themselves to say these things over and over again. That voice becomes the jailer of your potential. And I say today, it's time to take back the key. You were not born to live in fear. You were not born to be average. You were not born to be ruled by doubt. You were born with possibility. You were born with potential. You were born with choice. And that's what this message is all about. Killing the virus of negative thinking. Rewriting the script in your mind. Reclaiming the power to create a new story. So if you're ready, if you're tired of the mental sabotage, if you're done living small because your thoughts told you to, then let's begin. Let's go deep. Let's uncover the roots. Let's rip out the lies and plant something new. Because when you change your thinking, you change your life. Your mind is listening all the time. Not just when you're focused or reading or trying to be productive. No, it listens when you're tired. It listens when you're joking. It listens when you're complaining. And the problem is, your mind doesn't know the difference. It doesn't laugh when you make fun of yourself. It takes notes. That's why you have to be so intentional with the words you speak, especially the ones you say to yourself. Because those words become beliefs. And those beliefs shape your habits. And your habits shape your future. I used to say things like, "I'm not a good speaker." I believed it. I accepted it. I repeated it. Until one day I realized that wasn't just a thought. It was a curse I had placed on myself. And I had to learn something very important. Stop speaking curses over your own life and start speaking life. You can talk yourself into weakness, and you can talk yourself into strength. And for most people, they've spent years doing the former without even realizing it. They've repeated words of defeat so many times. They've started to think it's the truth. I'm not good with money. I always give up. I'm too old. I'm too young. You hear those long enough, you start living like they're facts. But they're not facts. They're just familiar lies. You've got to start feeding your mind the right words. Words that nourish. Words that strengthen. Words that build. Because every sentence you say about yourself is planting a seed in your mental garden. And if you keep planting weeds, don't be surprised when the garden looks rough. I started changing what I said. Instead of saying, "I'm bad with money," I said, "I'm learning how to master my finances." Instead of saying, "I'm too quiet to lead," I said, "I'm developing the confidence to lead." It didn't feel real at first. It felt like I was lying to myself, but I had already lied to myself for years in the other direction. So I figured, why not lie in a way that leads me toward my goals until the lie becomes my truth? It's not about pretending. It's about reprogramming. It's about giving your mind a new direction, a new target. You speak it, you repeat it, and soon it begins to feel natural. You'll catch your posture changing. You'll notice your energy shifting. Why? Because the words you speak feed the identity you build. I challenge people to stand in front of the mirror and speak life. Say, I am focused. I am disciplined. I am growing. Not because it sounds nice, but because it plants new roots. Even if they're tiny, they start growing. And soon those roots will produce fruits. There's power in repetition. Most of what you believe about yourself you didn't hear once. You heard it over and over. Maybe from someone else. Maybe from yourself. So if repetition built the problem, repetition can also build the solution. That's what personal growth is. It's not about flipping a switch. It's about changing the language of your mind, one sentence at a time. I remember when I first started learning the power of words. I didn't change overnight, but I started listening to myself. I caught the lazy language, the sarcasm, the quiet insults, and I began to replace them. Deliberately. And that small shift changed my entire direction. Because once I believed I could change, I had already started. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to shout affirmations. You just have to mean them, even if they're quiet. Even if you whisper them to yourself as you drive, or work, or lay down at night. It's not about noise. It's about intention. Speak like someone who believes their life has meaning. Speak like someone who knows the future is still unwritten. Speak like someone who's learning, growing, and becoming. Because when you change your words, you start to change your world. And don't just do it once. Speak life over your mind every day. Not just when you feel strong, especially when you feel weak. That's when it matters most. When doubt shows up, speak louder. When fear creeps in, remind yourself who you're becoming. Not with anger, not with panic, but with clarity, with calm, with confidence. You've got one mind. Don't curse it. Don't confuse it. Don't leave it starving. Feed it, lead it, teach it, and most importantly, speak to it like it matters. Because it does. And the more life you speak over your mind, the more life it will give back to you. There's a thief in your house, but it doesn't wear a mask. It doesn't break in through the window. It walks in with your permission, and it lives between your ears. That thief is negative thinking. It doesn't steal your money. It doesn't steal your car. It steals something far more valuable. It steals your peace, your purpose, your potential. I always say, you have to stand guard at the door of your mind. Why? Because if you don't control what gets in soon, what gets in will begin to control you. It starts subtle. You miss a goal, you fail a test, you lose a little confidence. And that quiet little voice creeps in. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Now it doesn't yell. It whispers, just enough to make you hesitate. Just enough to make you doubt. Just enough to stop you from trying again. And once that whisper finds a home in your mind, it invites its friends. Fear, worry, and excuses. Let me tell you something. You can't defeat an enemy you refuse to recognize. Negative thinking is like a parasite. It feeds on your inaction. It grows in your silence. And before you know it, it takes over your entire perspective. Here's the question. Are you listening to your thoughts or leading them? See, most people don't lead their thinking. They just react to it. But if your mind is like a garden, and then it's your job to pull the weeds. Every day, I had to learn this the hard way. Early in my life, I was a blamer. Everything was someone else's fault, the government, my employer, my circumstances. But then I realized something that changed everything. The day I changed my thinking was the day I changed my life. I began to ask better questions. Not, why does this always happen to me? But what can I learn from this? Not, why am I so unlucky? But, what skill do I need to grow next? That small shift changed everything. You see, you can't stop the thoughts from coming. They'll come, but you can stop them from setting up camp, from building a home, from becoming your reality. And it all starts with awareness. So I want you to do something today. I want you to start catching the thief. Catch the thought that says, I'll never be good enough. Catch the one that whispers, this is too hard. Catch it and challenge it. Don't let it pass unnoticed. If someone walked into your house and started insulting you, would you let them stay? Of course not. You'd show them the door. So why let your mind do the same thing and just sit there quietly? You've got to become the gatekeeper, the protector of your own mind. And the first step is this awareness. Because once you see the thief, you can stop it. And when you stop it, you take your power back. Everything begins with influence. The way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. It all comes from what you're letting in. You've got to remember, you are the gatekeeper of your own mind, and not everyone deserves access. You see, the mind is like a garden. Whatever you let in, whatever you allow to stay, that's what begins to grow. If you let weeds in, weeds will take over. If you let seeds of discipline, wisdom, and ambition in, they'll begin to bear fruit. Now, influence doesn't always come through the front door. It sneaks in. Through a friend's negativity. Through a TV show that feeds your doubt. Through the music you play on repeat. It all counts. It all adds up. And if you're not paying attention, it'll shape your thinking without your permission. I used to think I was strong enough to handle anything. Any voice. Any crowd. Any opinion. But I realized that's not wisdom. That's arrogance. Even the strongest minds can be shaped by constant exposure. And if you don't control what's influencing you, it will start controlling you. You've got to start asking yourself better questions. Who do I listen to? Who do I allow in my circle? Are they helping me grow or slowly pulling me backwards? Are they challenging me to rise or making excuses feel comfortable? You don't need to judge others. Just observe, and then decide what you'll allow into your mental space. Sometimes guarding the gate means creating distance, not out of hate, but out of clarity, out of love for where you're going. You can love people and still protect your peace. You can be kind and still be careful. Because your future is too important to be shaped by careless voices. There was a time when I thought I needed to be available to everyone. That saying yes made me generous. But I learned saying yes to the wrong things can bankrupt your spirit. You've got to learn the power of no, not to be rude, but to stay aligned, to stay focused, to keep your mind clean and your path clear. Think of your mind like a vault, a sacred space. You don't leave the vault door open to just anyone. You don't let strangers write on the walls. And yet, that's what many people do. They scroll, they listen, they absorb, and they don't realize how much they're giving away. One negative voice, one sarcastic comment, one voice of doubt. It might seem small, but if you hear it enough, if you let it echo in your mind, it starts to stick. It changes your energy. It weakens your conviction. That's the power of influence. Now, here's the good news. Just as bad influence can pull you down, good influence can lift you up. A book can change your thinking. A mentor can shift your vision. A single idea can rewire your belief system. So don't just guard your gate. Feed it with excellence. Surround yourself with voices that remind you who you can become. Read what builds you. You watch what strengthens you. Listen to people who stretch you. People who believe in responsibility, in growth, in character. Because what you surround yourself with will become your default. And when life hits you, and it will, your default is what shows up. Guarding your gate is not about isolation. It's about intention. It's about deciding, I will not be casual with my future. I will not be careless with my mind. And once you make that decision, you begin to take control of your own destiny. You can't always control who you work with, or what comes on the news, or what people say. But you can control how much space it gets in your mind. And that one decision to guard your gate can be the beginning of a brand new chapter. So I ask you, what are you letting in? Who are you giving access to your thoughts, your dreams, your focus? Be ruthless about this. Not because you're afraid, but because you're serious. Serious about who you're becoming. And remember, when you protect the mind, you protect the mission. And when you protect the mission, you start to see results. Better thoughts, better habits, a better life. So today, shut the gate, clean the garden, set the standard, and surround yourself with the kind of influence that pulls you toward your best self. Because your future depends on it. We all want to be successful. We all want to be strong. We want to accomplish things. We want to become the kind of person who can rise to any occasion, no matter how difficult the road may be. But there's a truth we must face. Success doesn't come easy. It doesn't come with good intentions alone. It comes through discipline. And discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you train, just like a muscle. You have to work at it. You have to develop it. You have to strengthen it over time. It's not a talent. It's a habit. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. What does that mean? It means that success isn't a big breakthrough. It's the small, seemingly insignificant actions you take every day, repeated consistently. It's easy to think that the most successful people are just naturally gifted, that they somehow have a magic touch. But the truth is they have something else, discipline. They've developed a routine. They've built a set of habits. And they've practiced them day in and day out, even when they don't feel like it. Take a moment and think about your own routine. What do you do every day? Is it focused on building your character? Is it feeding your mind with positive, productive thoughts? Is it strengthening your resolve to push through obstacles? Because the mind is like any other part of you. It can be shaped, molded, and trained. But to train it, you need discipline. Not just the kind of discipline that gets you through a workout or a day at the office. I'm talking about the discipline of thought, the discipline of focus, the discipline to stay the course, even when the distractions are overwhelming. And yes, it's hard at first. But that's the price of greatness. We all have dreams. But if we're honest, most of us also have excuses. We have moments when we want to quit. We have days when we feel like nothing is going right. And that's when discipline steps in. It's in those moments when the going gets tough. That discipline says, keep going. You won't feel like doing it. Your mind will say, I'm too tired. It's not working. Maybe tomorrow. But discipline says, no. You must keep going. You must keep pushing. And what starts to happen is this: when you push through, when you stay committed, when you rise even when you don't feel like it, you grow stronger. And not just physically, mentally. The mind, like the body, needs repetition to get stronger. You don't build muscle by lifting weights once a week. You don't build discipline by deciding to be disciplined only when it's easy. You build it by making the right decisions day in and day out. By training yourself to think differently, to think with purpose, to think with intention. Discipline is about controlling the impulse to give in to the easy path. It's about doing what's difficult in the moment because you know it's leading you somewhere better. It's about making your future self proud, even when your present self wants to take a shortcut. It's saying, I will do it today, because the work I put in today is what will pay off tomorrow. The beautiful thing about discipline is this: once you start, it becomes easier. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's hard. At first, it feels like you're dragging a weight. But as you continue, as you practice it, it picks up momentum. You begin to enjoy the process. It becomes second nature. The mind is a powerful thing, but it won't get stronger by accident. You must train it with purpose. You must develop the habits that create success. You must say no to the easy distractions and yes to the hard work. You must be willing to put in the time, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because in the end, discipline creates results, and results create success. Let's talk about the power of small decisions. You've heard me say it before. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that's where discipline begins, with the small, seemingly insignificant choices. It's choosing to get up early, to read that book, to plan your day, to work a little longer, to focus a little more. It's those little choices, compounded over time, that make all the difference. You may not see the results immediately. And that's where many people give up. They don't see the changes. They don't see the growth. But I can promise you this. If you keep practicing discipline, you will see the results. And when you do, you'll realize that it wasn't the big moments that shaped you. It was the small, disciplined actions, done consistently, that created your success. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's not glamorous. It's not easy. But it works. And the more you train your mind through discipline, the more you'll realize just how much you're capable of. So today, make a commitment. Commit to training your mind. Commit to developing the disciplines that will take you where you want to go. Every great success begins with the discipline of thought. The discipline to say no to distractions. The discipline to stay focused on your goals. The discipline to keep going when the road gets tough. Because in the end, it's the disciplined mind that wins the race. I want you to take a moment and think about your dreams. Really think about them. Not the surface level wishes, but the real dreams. The ones that make your heart beat faster. The ones that make you feel like you're meant for something greater. Hold that image in your mind for a second. Now, here's the question: can you see it? Not just with your eyes, but with your mind. Can you picture yourself achieving that dream, living that life, experiencing that success? Because if you can't see it in your mind, you won't be able to live it in your reality. I often say, you don't get what you want. You get what you picture. Your mind is a powerful tool. It doesn't just see things in front of you. It creates the future. The pictures you hold in your mind today will shape the life you live tomorrow. That's why it's so important to paint the right picture. If you want to change your life, you have to start by changing what you see. If you can't see your success, you'll never believe it's possible. But once you see it clearly, once that vision is vivid and real in your mind, belief follows. You see, belief is the bridge between your vision and your reality. If you don't believe it's possible, you won't put in the effort. You won't push through the obstacles. You won't make the sacrifices. But when you believe, you move differently. You act with confidence. You make decisions based on your vision, not on the circumstances around you. Belief is like fuel. It powers everything you do. But here's the thing. Belief doesn't come by wishing. It comes from discipline. It comes from feeding your mind with positive thoughts, with the belief that your dream is not just possible, but inevitable. It comes from knowing that your vision isn't just a fantasy. It's a goal that you will turn into reality. When you begin to believe, you start to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You start to look at challenges as stepping stones, not roadblocks. You start seeing solutions, not problems. Because belief shifts your perspective. It opens your eyes to possibilities that you may have missed before. But it's not enough just to believe. The true test comes when you live it. You have to live as if your dreams are already on their way. You have to carry yourself with the certainty that success is inevitable. You have to act like the person who has already achieved everything you're striving for. This is where most people miss it. They wait for the circumstances to change before they change. They wait for the opportunity to show up before they take action. But you have to flip the script. You have to live the life now. Not when you get the promotion, not when you get the big break, not when the stars align. You must live it now. Live as though the person you want to be is already inside you. Start showing up as the person who has already achieved what you want to achieve. If you want to be successful, act successful. If you want to be healthy, live like a healthy person. If you want to be a leader, lead today. Because how you live right now is shaping who you'll become. This isn't some game of pretending. It's about aligning your actions with your vision. It's about taking steps every day that are in harmony with where you're headed. It's about waking up with purpose and making choices that are consistent with the life you want to create. Seeing it gives you the vision. Believing it gives you the faith. But living it, that's where the transformation happens. That's where the magic takes place. When your actions align with your beliefs, when your behaviors match your vision, that's when success becomes inevitable. So, let me ask you, what are you seeing today? What vision are you holding in your mind? If it's a vision of success, then believe it with everything you have. And then live it. Act on it. Make decisions today that reflect the person you're becoming. Because when you do that, when you make that shift, you begin to attract the right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances to make that vision come alive. Success doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. It happens when you decide to see it, believe it, and live it every single day. It happens when you refuse to let go of your vision, even when the journey gets tough. It happens when you keep moving forward, no matter what. And in the end, that's what will separate you from everyone else. Because most people never truly see it. They never really believe it. And they certainly never live it. But you have the power to change that. You have the power to see your dreams clearly. You have the power to believe in them. And you have the power to live the life you've always imagined. The question is, are you ready to live it? As we close today's journey, remember this: the path to success begins in your mind. See it clearly, believe it with all your heart, and live it with purpose every single day. You have the power to shape your future. The question is, will you? Keep moving forward, keep believing, and keep living with intent. Your dreams are waiting for you. Go make them a reality. Thank you for taking the time to grow with me today. Now go out there and take action, because your best life is just a decision away.